On Sunday, known as Palm Sunday, Jesus and his disciples came into Jerusalem. Jesus came on a donkey. Most kings of his time would come on a great horse or chariot, but Jesus came riding into Jerusalem on a donkey, signifying his humbleness as a leader. The Israelites greeted him by placing palm leaves in front of him and saying, "Hosanna," which translates to "Save now" or "Hallelujah." The Jews wanted Jesus to free them from the Romans, but he was just going to do spiritual work in Jerusalem, not political. On Monday, Jesus was hungry and noticed a fig tree in the distance. When Jesus came upon the fig tree, he noticed it bared no fruit. So he said, "May no fruit ever come from you again." Matthew 21, verse 19. The fig tree represented the spiritual deadness of Israel. Following this incident, Jesus comes upon this temple and spots vendors within the temple. "The scriptures declare my temple will be a house of prayer, but you have turned it into a den of thieves." Luke 19, verse 46. Again, this is signifying the corruption and spiritual deadness of the Israelites. Skipping Tuesday and Silent Wednesday to Maundy Thursday, Jesus washes his disciples' feet as they prepare to share the Passover meal. By cleansing his disciples' feet, he demonstrated by example how they were to love one another. Jesus confronted Peter and told him that he would deny him 3 times. Jesus also foretold that one of his disciples would betray him. Jesus then split bread and wine. The body and blood of Christ. This was known as communion. His body would be broken just like the bread, and his blood would be shed just like the wine. He instructed his disciples to do communion in remembrance of him. Later, at the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus prayed to God, he was betrayed by Judas with a kiss on the cheek. Jesus was arrested where he would be taken to Caiaphas' house, the high priest where Jesus would be tried. Like Jesus' prophecy foretold, Peter then denied Jesus as his teacher. On Good Friday, Jesus was mocked and tortured. The Romans put a crown of thorn on his head, mocking him, the King of the Jews. He was brought to Pontius Pilate, but Pontius faced a hard decision, so he gave Jesus' fate to the Jews. Jesus suffered as he had to pull a cross to Golgotha, where he was nailed to a cross and mocked and tortured. On the cross, Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." His final statements were, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." As Jesus died, the temple curtain split in half, signifying the opening between earth and heaven. For Jesus had died for our sins, so that we may be forgiven.
When Jesus was resurrected, Mary Magdalene was on her way to see him. Mary Magdalene, when she first saw him, thought he was a gardener, and it was not until the word for teacher in Aramaic, Rabboni, was said that she recognized him. Then Jesus went on a walk to Emmaus with Cleopas and one other unnamed disciple. On the walk, Jesus gave a sermon, and after, the 2 disciples invited him in for dinner. At the dinner table, Jesus blessed and broke the bread, and as soon as this happened, the disciples knew who he was, and Jesus vanished. Then, a week later, Jesus visited Peter and the other disciples when they were fishing on the Sea of Galilee. Peter saw Jesus on the shore, and he jumped in the water and immediately swam to Jesus. Then Jesus asked Peter 3 times if Peter loved him, because Peter denied Jesus 3 times when he was arrested by saying he didn't know him. And 3 times Peter said he loved Jesus. Finally, one of the disciples who was not at the Sea of Galilee, Thomas, did not believe that Jesus was really alive. So Jesus went to see him and let Thomas stick his finger in Jesus' side stigmata to prove that he was really alive.